This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Friday, December 9th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, new Peru president sworn in, predecessor Castillo arrested. Now former Peruvian President Pedro Castillo has been arrested following a pretty wild 24 hours, during which the country's Congress was scheduled to hold an impeachment hearing, which apparently led to Castillo's decision to attempt to dissolve Congress, which then led to an overwhelming vote in favor of ousting him from office, his former vice president then being sworn in to take his place. There's a lot going on here, but basically, Castillo has been unpopular and has faced an oppositional Congress since he took office, and Congress tried and failed to impeach him several times before this most recent attempt. This time around, though, he maybe thought they would succeed, so he tried to replace the whole of the government with loyalists to prevent that. And this decision, which some analysts have called a coup attempt, instead ensured Congress had the votes to oust him, and following that ouster, he was taken into police custody because of that attempt. The country's new president, Dina Boluarte, is Peru's first woman president. From the Associated Press, basketball star Griner freed in swap for Russian arms dealer. WNBA star Brittany Griner, who was accused of drug-related crimes by the Russian government near the beginning of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and who has been sentenced to years of hard labor at a penal colony in recent weeks, has been released following a prisoner exchange with the U.S. government. Griner's supposed crimes have generally been viewed as an excuse by Russia to grab a prominent U.S. citizen that they could essentially hold as a hostage and bargaining chip to cash out at some later date. And though this is being generally lauded as a victory for the U.S. and allied negotiators, the price to get Griner back is also considered to have been pretty steep, as the prisoner traded by the U.S. is a well-known arms dealer who has at times been called the Merchant of Death. That said, it wasn't clear Russia would be willing to give up Griner as part of a one-for-one prisoner deal, even for such a prominent arms dealer. So this is still being presented as a victory by the Biden administration. And from BBC News, first UK coal mine in decades approved despite climate concerns. The UK government has approved a new coal mine, the first of its kind to be approved in the country in about 3 decades, despite concerns that it will make achieving UK climate goals impossible. This project is being pitched as a limited sort of thing, the resulting coking coal used exclusively for steel production in country and elsewhere around the world. But critics have contended that demand for this fuel type is declining globally, and its output, no matter how you juggle the numbers, will cause the country to overshoot its emissions-related commitments. Supporters of the project have said it will create jobs, provide coal export revenue, and reduce the country's coal import expenses. But even officials who typically support this type of thing have said the approval of this project is short-sighted and just doesn't make any sense given the sustainable energy focus of the UK's economy. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.